Welcome everyone to a brand new ranking. And today we are stopping and ranking all the movies I saw that are new releases in the month of April 2021. Before we get started with my ranking of the month of April, please hit the thumbs up button. That's the best way to support this channel. Also, comment down below your ranking of movies in April. Obviously, I could not see every single film in the month of April. So if you have a different ranking than me, or you have new movies you want to add to my ranking, please put that in the comment section down below. Let's have a fun discussion about your ranking of these films. I'm sure my ranking is not your ranking. Also, please subscribe and ring the bell if you're new to the channel, doing movie reviews, TV show reviews, movie rankings like these, and streaming platform reviews. If you like any one of those things, please consider subscribing, ring the bell for notifications as we do more reviews this coming summer. I'm officially done school, so I'm going to spend a lot more time improving this YouTube channel and getting us growing as fast as possible. So now let's get started with the month that will obviously include the biggest movie probably of the month, and that is Mortal Kombat. So let's start off with number 7, and that is Thunder Force, the brand new Netflix film, the 5th collaboration between Ben Falcone and his wife, Melissa McCarthy. This movie's with Melissa McCarthy, Octavia Spencer, Jason Bateman, Bobby Cannavale, Pom Clemente. I really did not like this movie at all. Other than Jason Bateman's character, if the film is basically a superhero film, a superhero comedy. And if it's a comedy, I missed out on it because I didn't really laugh at any of the jokes. Only when Bateman was on screen with his character as Crab Arms. He was the only intriguing character of the entire film, and his dynamic with McCarthy was quite funny. Other than that, there's nothing else redeemable about the film. The villains are coming a mile away. They waste a lot of the potential with the setup. I talked about this last year's Super Intelligence, another Ben Falcone McCarthy movie. They love to keep jokes going on and on and on forever, and you just want to hear Ben say "cut" during the middle of a joke, but they keep having the joke go on. That's another big problem with the film. I did think Octavia Spencer's daughter was quite nice in the film, but overall, a really not funny movie whatsoever with the main characters. Nothing to do with the actors. I love these two actresses, especially Melissa McCarthy in comedies. She's one of my favorite comedic actresses. Whenever she's in the movie, I normally go and see it. Even if it's, they're 0 for 5 with Falcone. I've seen all 5 of those films because I commit to Melissa McCarthy. I love Spy, one of my favorite comedies of all time. I love Brides. I think Bridesmaids is really great. The Heat is also really fun. She's This Is 40. She's fun in a lot of stuff, but when she is collaborated with her husband, she really isn't that funny. I thought the movie was not well done. It had a huge setup, a pretty interesting plot, and then it goes down the drain as Melissa McCarthy plays the same character as she does in every single film. And again, that's why that is number 7. Coming in number 6 is probably the most divisive. Actually, there's a lot of divisive movies actually in the month. Coming in number 6 is a movie called Things Heard and Seen. Not a movie that really no one is talking about. It came out this past Thursday on Netflix with Amanda Seyfried and James Norton. Before I actually continue with my thoughts on this film, all these films in deep breakdowns I already have on my YouTube channel. So I'll leave a link at the end of the thing next to my head, clicking on the movie review playlist. All 7 of these films in a deep dive will be on that list. So here's Things Heard and Seen, which is a film that I actually was excited for. It's a thriller with Amanda Seyfried, who is one of the most underrated actresses in Hollywood. Really great in Mank. I don't think the movie holds up as great as she was in the movie, but she's really been underrated for years now. And it's nice to see her break through really with that performance in Mank, see what she would do next. And this is one of the more disappointing, not really disappointing, I was just let down by the film. I didn't really have any expectations about the film. I saw no publicity for the film. Only knew Amanda Seyfried starring in it. I didn't know the plot. So I was just going by the numbers with the film, not knowing anything. So I can't say I was disappointed because I didn't expect much from the film. And the film has an interesting subplot. It's a mixture of a thriller with a horror vibe to it, with the supernatural involved. And for me, other than Seyfried really giving it her all in the movie doesn't have a lot to offer. They have a lot of subplots going on, especially with James Norton's character, who the film believes is the most intriguing character in the film. Well, clearly it's Amanda Seyfried's character. She really is the audience to the film at some points, where James Norton's doing some weird stuff as her husband, and you're kind of in her shoes at times, but then The film dumps that, and really the last 30 to 45 minutes forgets that Seyfried is the main character and hones in on James Norton, which again, I don't hate James Norton. I think James Norton's a solid actor, and he actually has a fun time with this character. For me, he wasn't the person I was ever caring about compared to Seyfried. You knew the plot trajectory, a lot of the supernatural rules with the house in the film that they stay in don't make a lot of sense, and they're never established in the film. You're supposed to remember it. There's a character in the film who I actually loved in the first two acts, and the character basically, not literally, but in my opinion, character-wise, falls off a cliff with a huge reveal in the third act. In a hospital bed that I couldn't believe made it to the film, and I actually started cracking up. That's how bad it was. I've seen a lot of people, critics I trust, really like the film and dig the film. A lot of people not like it. Some people think it's forgettable. For me, I just did not like the film. It's in my bottom, I think, 5 or 7 of the year so far. So now we're going to come into all my final movie that is average or below average. These two movies that I just talked about were below average. Let's talk about an average movie, and that is Stowaway, another Netflix film, the third one already on this list. This is a space movie with Anna Kendrick, Daniel Day Kim, Shamir Anderson, and Toni Collette. A film that, again, no publicity was made for this film. It wasn't even on Netflix's wiki page for upcoming films. I did a search for people talking about this film to even watch it. It also came out another Thursday release, which they normally don't do. And again, this is definitely going to be one of the most forgettable films of the entire year. It's a very meh film with really good performances in it. I think Anna Kendrick is excellent in the film, even though I'm not a huge fan of hers. Daniel Day Kim was really good in the film. When Shamir Anderson gets a chance, he is good in the film. Toni Collette, of course, is great, even though they completely waste her character. It's a space movie, and I thought it was interesting at first because in most space movies, we get the background on the characters before they go to space, and then we're in space the rest of the movie. This movie, we're just going to space, and we're in space for the entire film, which I thought was a unique take at the space movie genre. But it has its very conventional things. The story thinks it's this epic story with a lot of twists and turns. Not really twists, but it's an epic, emotional story. And I just felt nothing at the end of the day with this ending of the film, which a lot of people are talking about, not in a good light, because it's just a very dull ending. You don't feel emotional. I just felt like I didn't care about the film when it was happening, but the performances are there from these actors. It's a space movie. It's a very well done looking space film, but overall, other than these performances and the look of the film, it's a very generic plot and a dull finish to the film. Let's move on to some above average films as we head into this top. As that was my number 5 movie. We have 4 more movies to talk about. Let's start off with number 4, Without Remorse. This just dropped on Friday on Amazon Prime. So the first non-Netflix movie to make this list. Is only 2 this month. Without Remorse was a film I was very excited for. I really liked the trailers. I know I'm not familiar at all with the Jack Ryan, Tom Clancy-like properties. I love Michael B. Jordan. The cast is very intriguing. If Jodie Turner-Smith, Jamie Bell, Guy Pearce. It's an action film for Amazon Prime. And again, I had fun enough with it. The action scenes for me, except the last one, was really enjoyable, especially the first act. I actually love the first act of the film with the backstory on why Michael B. Jordan has to go down this revenge, his relationship with the government. His motive was clear. And I really enjoyed the first act of the film. Again, I was also pumped with Taylor Sheridan, who wrote Hell or High Water, Sicario, Wind River, all these movies wrote the film. So I was excited for that. But again, the first act, I liked the setup. And then the film does have a familiar story, and it thinks that its twists and turns are really mind-blowing. And it feels like its ending is amazing, setting up a whole bunch of franchise films. That's not how I felt with the ending of the film. Very similar to Stowaway, I felt like the ending was very dull. I felt no emotion, didn't feel like I cared about the story at all. Now, the part that I enjoyed was the action and this really good performance from Michael B. Jordan. He is really entertaining to watch on screen. His action scenes are very good. His charisma is on screen. For me, he just is a movie star to me. So that took the film to above average, slightly fresh if I was on Rotten Tomatoes. But still, the story is not very good. Some of the dialogue is really cheesy. The villains, the twists, the turns are so predictable that the film thinks it's clever, but they're not that clever. So for me, Without Remorse is a bit of a mixed bag of some really great action with a great lead actor, but a abysmal story with a weak script with twists and turns. Let's move to number 3, and that is Mortal Kombat, this is now the only film. I actually saw 2 films in the month of April in theaters. That was Godzilla vs. Kong and Mortal Kombat. Again, Godzilla vs. Kong is technically a March film, so it was in my March ranking. This is the only one I saw in theaters that it's in my April ranking. I'll see a lot more. I'm even going Thursday to see Wrath of Man. But here we go, Mortal Kombat. Again, I'm a very casual viewer of the franchise. I know a lot of the characters. I've seen the game on multiple occasions, but I'm not a Mortal Kombat fan or anything. I never played the games, nothing like that. So I was just hoping for a fun time, and that's what I had at the film. It's an entertaining film, really from start to finish. Whenever Sub-Zero, who in my opinion, the MVP of the film, when he's on screen, the film, I was on the edge of my seat. Every time he is fighting Scorpion in this film, it is really exciting and really great action set pieces. The world actually film looks really nice. Outworld and the temple on Earth look really, really cool. It's violent, very gory. I was shocked how gory it really was. None of the games are very gory, but I was so happy how gory the film was. The opening 10 minutes are fantastic, and the last fight between Scorpion and Sub-Zero is also fantastic. But the main issue with the film, which is going to hold this back from being a great film or even a good film, is this Cole Young main character, who is, again, a character created for the movie, not a Mortal Kombat character, a character that I just could not get in sync with. I did not care about the main character, other than he had this DNA or whatever, the combat, a lineage, family lineage to Scorpion, that I just did not care about in the film. It was a very unintriguing main character. Him and Sonya Blade, no offense to those actors, I did not like those performances, and I felt those characters were by far the most dull characters in the entire film. They need a lot more light to them, and at times the film doesn't know if the Sub-Zero the Sub-Zero Scorpion fight is as important as Cole Young and his story. And the poster will tell you, well, it's Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Well, it's not. They get basically 2 scenes together, and those are the best 2 scenes of the entire film. Most of the film is this Cole Young story that you've seen a billion times. He has lineage to a famous Mortal Kombat character, and he doesn't know what's going on. Then he's bring up to fight. And you've seen this not just in video game movies, but movies in general. And for me, the story, I didn't care about any characters other than Sub-Zero and Scorpion. And when those 2 characters are not on screen for that much in the film, that means the film doesn't have a great story. You didn't really care. There's no Mortal Kombat tournament. At times, at least in the last 15 minutes of the film, it clearly feels like a setup movie. Oh, we're not going to do this yet because we're going to do this in the sequel. I feel like they saved too much for the sequel in this film. Coming into now, movies I really like to love. Coming in number 2 is Concrete Cowboy, which was the first movie I saw in the month of April. This is a Netflix film that has no one talking about it, and I really, really dug this film. It stars Caleb MacLachlan and Idris Elba, who are, and I'm from Philadelphia. The story is about horse riders in Philadelphia, and it's also about these people who just don't have the stables for horses. They have to rent out their own, create their own stables. That could be against the law. This Caleb MacLachlan character, he's not a great kid at school, goes to, his mom's kind of done with him, needs a break from him, so puts him with her ex-husband, Idris Elba, who takes him on, and he becomes this film had a lot of enjoyment to it. Now, I think the movie does feel really long, and this drug dealing subplot with McLaughlin's character really did not work for me in the film. But other than that, again, that's a big, in my opinion, there are way too many storylines. They want to give him a love interest, and then they forget about her at the end of the film. But there are actually very similar to Nomadland, where they're real nomads, there's real horse riders. I forgot what you call them here in the Philadelphia area, which I really enjoyed. The authenticity of the film was felt through. Idris Elba is a great actor, one of the best actors in Hollywood. Nice to see Caleb MacLachlan go out of his Stranger Things shell and really take he really is the main character of the film. My main issue with the film, also other than those subplots, is that I think we need a lot more father-son time for the film to have the posters about it and interest level to be. It really is Kayla MacLachlan's film, and I think we need a lot more slowing down, more conversations between MacLachlan and Elba, which have made this film great. It's a good movie. It's a solid film. It's a film I think a lot more people need to check out. If you have Netflix, definitely check out Concrete Cowboy. And coming in, guys, at number one is not just my number one movie of April. It's my favorite movie of 2021. The Mitchells versus the Machines. I love this film. I gave it above a 90%. With a 97% Rotten Tomatoes, a 90% audience score. Max, why are you jumping on the bandwagon? You might say, I'm not. I love this film. Has a lot of heart. Basically, the story is, actually, I already told my story in my review. Again, this film had so much heart to it, a lot of comedy, and you cared about each and every character. Has a main storyline in the entire film, which is really this family. It's a very authentic film that, of course, is authentic? No, because there's a robot apocalypse going on, all this stuff. But the family dynamic, the story of this girl named Katie who wants to go to film school, is going to film school. Her family's been not happy that she's a film person, don't really get that whole lifestyle. But the idea of embracing your awareness, the connectivity of technology, and this father-daughter relationship between A.B. Jacobson's Katie character and Danny McBride's father character that really does tug at the heartstrings. And it has so much heart to it. I didn't cry or anything, but I felt so into the story. I was very emotionally invested into those two characters, the satisfying conclusion to that storyline. And I want to see more with these characters. Again, the producer is Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who obviously famous Clouds, Chance of Meatballs, the Jump Street films, Spider-Verse. So they are all over the place. I really did adore this film. And it's a really emotional film. It's a kid's film with a lot of mature themes that I couldn't believe how mature the film was. Of course, there's gonna be poop jokes or child jokes in the film, but for the most part, it has a very mature themes to it that kids can learn from, adults can also take from it. It's advice to both being a kid. Like I'm very connected to Katie's character because both of us are 18 going to, in college. And also parents going to learn a lot about how they talk about their kids' passions. And I think the balance of those two things, but also some really fun action scenes, especially the last 30 minutes of the film, is so fun, so inventive, tugged at the heartstrings, and really fun to watch. So overall, guys, everyone should be watching The Mitchells versus the Machines, my favorite movie of the year so far, my favorite movie in the month of April. Thank you so much for joining me on my ranking of the month of April. Because movie theaters are back here in LA last month, I saw two movies last month, Godzilla versus Kong, Mortal Kombat, as I said earlier. So I'll be basically in the theater every week, again, watching new movies to review for you guys. That starts, actually tomorrow, guys, I'll be giving my spoiler thoughts on the premiere of The Bad Batch, the brand new Star Wars show. Then on Friday, I have some more reviews. I'm seeing Wrath of Man Thursday night in theaters before it officially comes out on Friday. I'll be giving my review on Friday morning, West Coast time, of Wrath of Man. Also Monster, the Netflix film, comes out on Friday. So those are three big reviews coming this week. So please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, like, share, comment down below. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next one.